Once upon a moonlit night, in the quiet town of Shadowvale, there stood an ancient cemetery, long forgotten by the living. Its weathered tombstones jutted out from the ground like skeletal fingers, casting eerie shadows on the overgrown grass. Among the twisted paths, a security guard named Samuel took up his post, tasked with protecting the solemn resting place. Samuel was a seasoned guard, but this particular assignment gave him an uneasy feeling. The legends surrounding the cemetery spoke of restless spirits and malevolent entities that roamed the grounds after midnight. However, he dismissed these tales as mere superstitions. As the clock struck midnight, Samuel embarked on his patrol. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, and the moon hung low in the sky, its pale light casting an otherworldly glow over the cemetery. The sound of his footsteps echoed through the silence, creating an eerie symphony in the darkness. Suddenly, a rustling noise emerged from the bushes nearby. Samuel's heart skipped a beat as he peered into the darkness, his hand instinctively reaching for his flashlight. He directed the beam toward the source of the sound, illuminating a pair of glowing eyes, eerily reflecting the light. A stray cat emerged from the shadows, and Samuel let out a sigh of relief. As he continued his rounds, he couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Shadows danced along the gravestones, seemingly moving with a life of their own. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it indistinguishable whispers that sent a shiver down Samuel's spine. As he approached a crumbling mausoleum, an icy breeze enveloped him. The heavy iron door creaked open, revealing a pitch-black void within. Samuel's heart pounded in his chest as he cautiously stepped inside, his flashlight piercing through the darkness. The beam revealed cobwebs, decay, and forgotten memories etched in stone. Each step echoed through the chamber, amplifying the sense of foreboding. But it was outside, among the tombstones, where the true terror awaited. Samuel's flashlight illuminated a figure standing in the distance. Its ragged clothes hung loosely from its emaciated frame, and its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. Frozen in fear, Samuel watched as the figure slowly approached him, each step accompanied by a bone-chilling whisper. Unable to contain his terror any longer, Samuel turned and fled, his heart pounding in his ears. He ran through the maze of graves, stumbling and tripping over uneven ground. The sound of his own ragged breath and the relentless pursuit of the specter echoed in his mind, urging him to run faster. But just as it seemed he would never escape, Samuel spotted a small chapel nestled in a clearing. With the last remnants of his strength, he sprinted towards it, flinging open the door and throwing himself inside. The door slammed shut behind him, cutting off the unearthly presence that had been pursuing him. Inside the chapel, Samuel collapsed onto the cold stone floor, his breath ragged and his body trembling. He looked around, hoping for sanctuary, but the chapel's interior was just as unsettling. Dust-covered pews lined the room, and faded stained glass windows depicted scenes of eternal suffering. The air was heavy with an oppressive aura, as if the building itself held a dark secret. Hours passed as Samuel remained trapped within the chapel, his mind tortured by fear and uncertainty. The night seemed endless, and the veil between the living and the dead felt dangerously thin. He could almost hear the whispers of tormented souls, trapped between realms and yearning for release. As dawn approached, the first rays of sunlight peeked through the stained glass windows, casting vibrant colors on the chapel's walls. With the arrival of daylight, the oppressive atmosphere lifted, and Samuel's courage began to return. Gathering his strength, he pushed open the heavy doors and stepped out into the calm morning. The cemetery, once filled with a sense of dread, now appeared serene and peaceful in the daylight. The graves stood as silent witnesses to the night's horrors, and the air carried a newfound tranquility. Samuel's encounter with the supernatural had left an indelible mark on his soul, a reminder of the thin line that separated the living from the realm of the dead. From that day forward, Samuel's experience in the cemetery became a cautionary